In this video, we're going to be having a look at the Synology Surveillance Station built into the Synology NAS. Make sure you stick around, and if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button below and keep an eye out for more videos. Hi, I'm Will from Surridge Tech, and today we're going to be having a look at the Synology Surveillance Station on my Synology NAS. Now, you've already seen me set up and get the Synology NAS up and running and review it, and now we're going to use it for an additional purpose. We're going to use it as a surveillance station, as an NVR, for my cameras around my house. Now, the Synology Surveillance Station comes with 2 licenses built into your NAS. For any additional license, it's going to cost you about £50, and you can get them online and from various places. So that is a bit of a shame that it only comes with 2. It would be nice to see more, but actually the surveillance station is an incredibly powerful bit of kit. So actually it's probably worth it. And 2 is probably enough for most people to get going and try it out anyway. So to install this, we need to head over to our NAS's user interface and go to the package center. In here we can search for surveillance. Apparently we can't spell. And install the surveillance station. We can then change various things such as a customized alias or HTTP port for ease of access, which might be more relevant for a business environment, but less so for me here. We confirm and we let it install. So now it's finished with that, we can open the surveillance station and it will pop us into a new window where we can see what it's all about. So this looks like the DSM, but is obviously slightly different and has got a slightly different layout and options available. So the first thing I'm going to show you is the application center. Now this is what is really quite impressive about the Synology, and it's all these kind of add-ons you can get. Again, they may not be completely useful for a home environment, but actually if you are in a business and you want to, then you can do some really cool things. For example, live broadcast will let you broadcast your camera onto the internet, onto YouTube or whatever. Joystick obviously allows you to use a joystick. IP speaker if you want to make announcements. A door controller, content management system. Smart time lapse lets you create a time lapse from your videos. And then we've got the PC apps that you can download, the mobile apps. The DS Cam allows you to kind of interface into this Synology surveillance station to look at your cameras, and the live cam actually turns an old mobile phone into a camera. So if you don't have a security camera yourself, but you do have an old smartphone, you can turn that into the camera. Admittedly, that will use up one of your licenses, so that's not a way to kind of get around the licensing issue. But it does work very well if you want to use a phone instead of getting a dedicated CCTV camera. Now there is also something cool on this called home mode, and that is kind of what you'd expect to be able to do on a more smart home system, where you can arm and disarm the camera's recording based on the status. And that will either work via geofence or manually if you just trigger it here. And that will change your recording schedules, your notifications, and anything else you kind of want it to, which is quite cool and very nifty for a NAS as opposed to just being a smart camera system. Okay, so we click on IP camera and then we press add cameras. Do a quick setup, see what you can find. Now in theory, I've got 2 network cameras on this Wi-Fi and they've both appeared, which is very impressive. So the AD110 is of course my doorbell. There we go, so you can test the connection here and see it has popped up. Fantastic. So that is the first camera added. And of course now we can add our second camera. Again, they pop up very quickly, and this is a Reolink E1 Zoom, which I've got in my sitting room. Lovely. Wow, we now have both of our cameras activated into our surveillance station. How easy was that? Given obviously none of these are made by Synology. They are both using OnVIF. So you might find that actually the streams themselves aren't set up correctly and they don't copy the right stream profiles. So you may need to change the stream profiles to allow them to have a high quality stream and a low quality stream. Lovely. And we're going to do the same with this one. So again, we don't need a high quality stream and a low quality stream. There we go, so they are both there, and what can we do? We can go into our live view and we can see our cameras. Look at that. And we've got volume, drag and zoom, stream setting, so we can go from low bandwidth, which I imagine is what it is, to high. Right, what else can we do? Well, we've got a timeline. So this will show us our timeline of recordings, and you can scrub through them throughout the week and your speeds and everything. And you can view your clips. But of course, to record, we need to go and change our settings. So to do that, we go into, and we want to edit our camera. So we've already been and changed these. You can see these. Our recording settings is what we want. So we want a pre-event record time, a post-event record time, keep files full, limit archive to, all of that kind of thing. You can customize the name, but obviously if you don't, it will be the same as the camera's name. And then you can schedule it. So what we probably want to do is schedule it to be motion detection all the time. But you can also customize what it would be doing based on what. So you could, if you had a digital input on your camera, for example, a microphone or something that might be plugged into your camera, you could get it to only record on that, or tampering, or anything really. But for now, I'm going to leave it as motion detection, and I'm going to record high quality at that point. We can also check our live view settings, our optimization, which is the time sync and some other little bits, mirroring, flipping, that sort of thing. Event detection. Now this can either be done by the camera or by Surveillance Station itself. So if it's done by Surveillance Station, you can edit your detection area . Want a plus, and only detect those areas, and it's done by these little squares, and you can kind of drag a space, which is really clever and a nice way of doing it if your onboard camera doesn't have sort of area detection. You can also set a sensitivity and a threshold, and you can ignore motion that's less than a few seconds long if you wanted. For example, a car going past is going to be very quick, so I don't really want to detect that. For now, however, I'm going to keep it by the camera, and it will do it by whatever the camera had set up to be. And these are the digital input ports if you have them on your camera, and a digital output which might be used for a speaker. But most cameras I don't think will have these, especially not kind of low-end cameras. So if we head into the DiskStation app on the phone, we can quickly connect to our DiskStation. Obviously it needs to find it, which it will do automatically. And then we've got our multi-view of cameras. And we can scrub around if we want to, zooming in, jumping back. And it is very, very quick at loading the feeds. That is the most impressive thing about this, I think. Like with my doorbell, usually it'll take me ages before a feed loads, and even then sometimes it doesn't load. So having this reliable way of doing things is great. We can see recording, our motion detections, all of that kind of thing, and we can scrub through it here as well, which is very nice. Any snapshots, which we haven't obviously got at the moment, and any notifications we can get as well. And of course our home mode, which we can set to do with multiple devices if we want to, changing our home location. So we can change our home location, we can add additional devices, and we can enable geolocation from that as well. And then we can also see our licenses. Obviously we haven't got any extra licenses, we've just got the 2 that came with it. And there we go, that is Synology Surveillance Station in a nutshell. Now, what else have we got in Surveillance Station? Well, we've got actually quite a lot. Obviously, you can see your users. And different users can have different privileges, whether that's read and write access, just read access, just view it, being able to download it or not. We've also got our licenses, which you can see. I've only got the 2 default licenses, but you can obviously have plenty more, up to 40 on this device. The Smart Search, which you can't do on the browser, unfortunately, but can do on the desktop client. We've got our recordings, audio patterns, which is some default sounds that you can output to your speakers if you had any. Client management, so looking at who's connected to it. Obviously there's me on this and me in the app, so that's nice to be able to see who's in there. Home mode, which I did mention before, where you can enable it to come on and off automatically via geofence or via a schedule. So if you're always at home, then, and you're always away for the rest of the week, then you can do it automatically by schedule there. Or you can do it a one-time switch. And then you've got the settings for home mode, which allows you to change the settings of the recording, of the notification, of the stream profile, or the action rule. So you can see that if home mode is enabled, then we can change the recording profile and the notification profile. So if you're at home, you might not want an email, you might just want a mobile notification, for example. The stream profile, so maybe if you're at home, you want it balanced, whereas if you're away, you want high quality, potentially. And then, of course, the action rules as well. We can see our system, just to get some basic information in that, how the storage is doing, how the network's doing, all the usual sort of stuff that you'd have access to in your DSM, but if users only have access to Synology, it gives them kind of an overview of that. And you can create camera groups to add cameras together more efficiently. So now I'm on the Surveillance Station client on desktop, and we can have a look at the Smart Search. So the Smart Search lets you basically do a smart search. So you choose your camera, your date and your time, and then you can select a motion detection zone, or you can configure it to do different things. So whether that's camera occlusion, focus loss, foreign object, missing object, or motion detection. Of course, you then get to change your sensitivity. And if we just skip to there and go there, and then we can search, and we can see what it happens. And it will scrub through the footage and show you the searches that it's discovered. And you can see it getting highlighted. And then you can see your results on the side. And then it'll speed up when there isn't that sort of anything going on, and it will pick out any other events that occur and record them, or show you the recordings that they are in, which is very clever. What we can then do is head over to Home Assistant, reload our configuration for the Synology, and we can see that some more devices have appeared. So we've got the doorbell, which will then integrate the OnVIF stream directly from our doorbell through the NAS to Synology. And of course, we've also got the sitting room has appeared. And also in the surveillance station, we have a toggle for home mode, so we can automate it in our smart home, as well as just having it manually within our surveillance station. So that is Synology Surveillance Station. It is a very nifty little package. If you've got a NAS and you want to start recording your cameras, then it's a great way to do it without having to buy an additional NVR. And it is a very powerful little NVR equivalent, and it can do a heck of a lot with it. So there we have it. The Synology Surveillance Station is set up with some cameras, an overview, and then integrated into Home Assistant. Make sure you hit that subscribe button below and click the bell icon to find out more about My Smart Tech and how you can build yourself the ultimate smart home.